Hey guys, Zach here with Minimalist Escapes, and today I want to talk to you guys about lighting for your aquariums. Now, there are multiple different reasons why lighting is super important for your tanks, and I just want to go over a couple of those in this video. To start us off, should be a pretty obvious one. Without lighting, you can't really see into your aquarium. So if you do want to view your aquarium during the day or at night or whenever you want to have the lights on, it's super important to have lights so you can just see in, so you can look at the fish, look at the plants, look at your hardscape, look at whatever you want inside of your aquarium. Now, the second reason why lighting is super important for tanks is more specific to the planted tank or planted aquarium hobby side, is to grow your plants. If you have any plants in your tank, you need a source of light in order to grow the plants in the tank, or else they're going to wither away. Now, this can be done in many different ways, and I've experimented with most of them. The first being the most common, and that is just to have an LED full spectrum light above your aquarium. If you go with something like an aquarium kit, an all-in-one kit that has filter, lighting, tank, maybe some other stuff in there, you're gonna probably get a light that's good. You know, that white light with the red and the blues is going to be more than enough to grow most plants in your aquarium. Now, obviously, depending on the type of plants that you have, your lighting might need to change. If you want to have super popping and bright reds, you might need a bit brighter of a light, but that's really specialty and very specific once you get a little later down in the hobby. Now, these full spectrum LEDs are great and they work perfectly well, and I would recommend them for 99% of people. I've got full spectrum LEDs running on most of my tanks. You can get them cheap or you can go more expensive. It really just depends on your budget. Now, another thing that I like to do though, however, is I will cheap out and I will use aquariums and not have LED lighting on them at all. I'll have no lighting on them whatsoever, and instead I'll just place the aquariums close to a window. Behind me here, I've got 3 tanks, 1, 2, 3, and none of the 3 have any lighting on them, except the plants are still doing exceptionally well. And that's because I do have ambient light from the other 2 lights back there, as well as the window behind me is normally open, and that is going to provide enough light to the plants in the aquarium. Another way that you can light is just, I've got some cheap desk lights that are LEDs, so they're not full spectrum, but they're just white. And this works perfectly well as well, without causing too much fuss in the aquarium. Something very important with planted tanks when choosing a type of light, well, all aquariums actually, is also timing your light properly. With lighting in an aquarium, too much can cause problems and too little can cause problems. As I said before, without enough light, if you have plants in your tank, they're just going to shrivel up and die. But if you go other side of that spectrum and you go too much light, you can run into issues with algae or some kind of other problem in your aquarium from having too much light in the aquarium. Now, to circumvent this and just prevent it, just start off with lower amounts of light time. Like if you have your light on for 5 hours a day, and then you see, okay, I'm not getting any algae and the plants are growing, you know what, maybe turn it up to 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I usually keep my aquariums around 8 hours every day, and that has been perfect for me. Another thing to take into consideration when you have your photo period is just how much ambient light is on around your aquariums. So if you've got your aquarium close to a main room in your house, but you're lighting it for 6 hours and you're still getting algae, consider ambient light. If you've got a window nearby, that can cause algae too, so be careful with your photo period when you have your lights on. I would also recommend the LEDs for this, the full spectrum aquarium ones, because generally they do have built-in LEDs, or not LEDs, they have built-in timers, and that's really great, and it sort of packs it all into one. Now, the third reason why lighting is so important for your aquariums is because of the fish and inhabitants that you have in your aquarium base their habits off of the lighting cycles. Examples of this would be if you have nocturnal creatures in your tank. Some of them only come out at night, so it's important to have that day-night cycle or a light time and a dark time so that they do come out and they are active. If you just have it always light, you know, you're not going to have the happiest inhabitants and they're not going to display naturalistic behaviors. Or if you always have it dark, then any animals that are generally active during the day might become sluggish or slow, and they just won't act the same as if they had that day-night cycle. So that's super important, and it's what's going to allow your inhabitants to be happy and display naturalistic behaviors. So that is everything for this video. Before I do go, I just want to remind you guys that every aquarium is different, every tank is different, every fish is different, so make sure you experiment with your light and you do different things to see what works best. What works for me might not work for you, what works for you might not work for someone else, so just try your best. If you guys have enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.